roads.
Need some suspension work and shocks and brakes, brake pads, lining, steering box, transmission, rear end.
Ka-chow. Check those seat cars! It worked! I love this button!
Always remember, you ain't first, you're last.
106 miles to Chicago. We got a full tank of gas, half a pack of cigarettes. It's dark, and we're wearing sunglasses. Hit it.
All right, welcome back to the Unnamed Movie Car Podcast. Again, we've been having some formatting issues with the podcast setup, so I think we've done this intro 3 or 4 times.
I think we have. And by the way, the only thing we have on our sound pad now is
that's the only sound we have available.
So if you hear this a lot, okay, that'll be the signal today for.
That's our arsenal of sound bites.
That's it. That's all we've got.
We're recording at you live from what? North Carolina?
No, it's Sweet
Georgia?
Home. No, it's West Virginia.
West Virginia.
West Virginia County.
West Virginia
or
County.
something. So West
I
Virginia.
thought the racetrack was in North Carolina, though.
Maybe. Is that across state lines? I don't know.
We watched Logan Lucky this week.
Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky on Hulu.
On Hulu. And it confused me.
What,
the
name?
Movie? Well, the name. Logan Lucky. Like, what is Logan Lucky? And then I figured it out. So
okay.
We'll talk about
so the way the show works is we wait 10 minutes to give any spoilers or really talk anything about the movie, just in case to avoid spoilers.
Yeah, so we'll give it 10 minutes and then then we'll get that.
Yeah,
hey!
normally you'll hear the Ecto 1 siren, but since we had to reformat, for some reason, the only sound that survived the formatting of the SD card is that.
Oh!
So the apocalypse came and wiped out all of our data except for that stupid sound. I don't know why it survived the great formatting of 2022.
It's true.
So yeah,
that is true. So I'm sorry. Anyway,
we wait 10 minutes to give any spoilers or really talk about the movie to avoid spoilers. So you can make up your mind if you want to watch it beforehand, and we highly recommend watching the movies before we talk about them.
Totally good.
But
absolutely,
today is Super Bowl Sunday. Actually,
in
real life.
Well, in
real life, this is coming out in March.
And it's freezing outside. It is so cold. I just walked the dog. It's really cold. By the way, I listened to a podcast recently that we did, and you gave a shout out to me walking the dog, which was crazy because I was listening
to walking the dog,
which is hilarious. So that was kind of
shout out to you. Now shout out to you walking the dog, listening to us talking about you walking the dog.
That's right.
And it's getting too meta.
Exactly.
It's getting very meta.
Shout out to Paul Shin.
Shout out to Craig Lieberman.
Yeah.
Shout out
to
all of our listeners.
Jory's dog Bella. Probably one of our number one dog
fans.
listeners.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have anything really prepared. It's Super Bowl Sunday. Who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Because this will come out way after. So should we do our clips as we normally do?
Let's do our normal.
I'm so glad was it Bengals?
I think it's the Bengals.
Bengals and Rams?
I think so, yeah.
I'm so glad the Bengals won the Super Bowl. And then, or I'll put in Rams. And we'll put in whichever one.
Boop, and then we don't have even our beep. We can't even do our beep.
Yeah, we can't.
Classic.
Oh yeah, we don't have any sound.
We don't
bites.
have our beep tones.
I was actually driving to work the other day. I had to drive like an hour each way to work to film a car, and I was thinking about the podcast. And I've decided I wrote down some questions for you. That I'm gonna ask one a podcast, just like father-son questions.
Wow. Okay.
I
hope they're not too embarrassing.
No. Was it last podcast we talked about you going to a gentleman's club?
Yes.
Yes. I thought that was an interesting story, and I think
if you're interested in hearing what happened, listen to the last.
Check out the last episode. I don't know. The last year or so, 2 years, I've been slowly starting to realize that my parents are people.
Yeah, it's weird, isn't it?
It is. It's weird to think about that you had a whole life before me.
Yeah.
Which I know is a very self-centered, egocentric.
No, the whole world is not happening until you were born, and then the whole world started.
Right. To me, that is the truth. That is what happened.
I know.
The world started when I.
It's true.
But so I want to slowly start to hear some stories and
got a lot of them.
Yeah. So my question this week.
Okay.
And they're all going to be car related.
Oh,
to keep it with the theme of the show.
Great.
And
Okay.
things
That's
like that.
good. That's nice.
Have you ever gotten a car airborne?
Airborne.
4 wheels off the ground.
4 wheels off the ground, no.
Okay.
But I've done some maybe 2 wheels off the ground.
Okay.
That was in the Dodge Monaco. I was going through a parking lot at night. I was about maybe 16, 17 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Dodge Monaco was a tank. I mean, it literally could go through anything. And I was driving pretty fast, and I hit a bump in the middle of the parking lot. Couldn't see it. It was really dark. It was one of those where, because of the way the lights and the streetlight shadows and all that were playing, you couldn't see it. So I hit the bump, and then when I came off of the bump, the front of the car lifted up, probably maybe a centimeter, not a centimeter, probably a millimeter of the wheels left the ground. But for that car to do that, and then it hits the ground, and it's like, oh crap!
Bottomed out.
I bottomed out because I thought, okay, it's not my car; it's my parents' car. I'm going to be killed, and they're going to kill me for this.
Mm-hmm.
It was fine. That car literally, we talked about the Bluesmobile. We talked about, and that was the car. It wasn't the car, but it was the same model of car.
What, they had a 74, you had a 76?
We had a 76 Dodge Royal Monaco, which had the eyelid lights, the garage door lights.
Garage door lights. Yeah.
Which never worked after like the first year.
Yeah, I believe those were not electronic, they were vacuum.
Probably,
if I remember correctly.
Most likely,
because the 78 Continental Town Car that I drove, that had vacuum-operated headlights.
Yeah.
And they would close, but they wouldn't open on their own. So I got, in my review of the 78 Town Car, I have a shot where the headlights open as a cool cinematic shot. It's filmed in reverse.
Are you serious?
I filmed it in reverse.
Wow. Wow, the magic of movies.
Yeah, so what was it?
Movie magic with Zach Pradel.
Oh, what did I do?
Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Shout out to Shooting Cars.
What did I do? I think I closed them.
Yeah.
And then drove away. It drove backwards or something like that to get this shot to make it look like.
But that's totally cool. Now, what do you use to edit with?
iMovie. Still to this day, tried and true.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's the frustration. Do they have a reverse?
Yes.
And see, that's the thing. Camtasia doesn't.
Really?
I use Camtasia for a lot. I do a lot of business training videos for business. Actually, for work, that's what I use is Camtasia, and I have Camtasia at home.
Yeah.
And the problem is that's not the problem, but they have no way to reverse a clip, which is really dumb. Because so many people, I went online and I'm like, there's got to be a way to do this, right? So I went online. Everyone is asking them, please, please, please put in a reverse clip.
Yeah.
How hard can that be? Every other package has the ability to reverse a clip.
That's iMovie's actually a very good editing system.
Yeah, I mean, it is. A lot of people said that.
12 years now.
Yeah. Right.
The only thing you really get caught up with iMovie is layering clips because you can only have 2 layers of footage.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't have 3 layers. So,
okay, so I usually have like 8. So,
right.
Yeah. So.
So you can't do that. But what's funny is whenever I do my reviews, I never want to use the same clip of footage twice in a review. Sometimes if I don't have enough footage, I will be forced to.
Right. Yeah.
But oftentimes what I'll do is if you've already seen that clip in the video and I have to reuse it, I'll reverse it. So then I'm walking, if I'm walking around a car, I'm walking left to right, and then I'll switch it right to left, which has actually gotten me in trouble a handful of times without noticing it because I'm looking at the car and editing it, and I'll post it, and then someone's like, hey, why is traffic in the background moving backwards at 0:36?
Right,
I wouldn't use it that early in the video, but at 10:05, all the cars are going backwards, or there's a pedestrian in the background and they're walking backwards.
Yes.
So it does get me in trouble every once in a while, but yeah. So the Dodge Monaco, you
Dodge
lifted
Monaco,
off the ground a little bit.
Maybe it's just a tiny bit.
That's
not
fair
much,
enough, though. But yeah, I have more questions if you want to go through them, or
well, if you want to ask another if you have another question, we'll do that before we do our spoiler. Or
have you ever been stranded by a car far from home?
Stranded by a car far from home. I
or had a breakdown far from home.
Well, that's a really, really good question. I don't recall. I mean, if you're saying far from home,
well, not not within like walking distance.
Okay.
Like across town counts.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I have.
You had to call me once to put gas in the Model A.
That's
that's
the one I'm thinking of.
Oh, really?
That's the one I'm thinking of because actually, I think Mom was in the car, and it was like I had to.
Oh wow, yeah.
Anyway, yeah, there was obviously ran out of gas in the Model A. That was really. Boy, normally no, I haven't been. I've had cars that didn't start, had to have somebody else jump them.
Yeah.
So I guess that would be, probably the Impala, the Chevy Impala I had, the '69 Chevy Impala, which that car was, talk about, boy, that was a beater. That was a tough car,
yeah. They'd probably go for a pretty penny nowadays.
Nowadays it would, yeah.
Well, if it was a super sport. I don't think it was.
Yeah, and actually there's some we're at time.
We're at 10 minutes. Oh yeah, Jesus.
So we're at time now. But what I was gonna say is there's some older cars in this movie, which I would love to have.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. So let's talk Logan Lucky.
Logan Lucky.
On
Lucky.
Hulu. I want to mention that more where we watched them, so then you can get in on it.
Yeah.
What did you think of the movie?
It's funny. I was happily surprised. I didn't think I would like it at all. I really did not. Just from the cover art, just from having Daniel Craig looking like a Southern guy, it just really, wearing the striped pajamas, basically.
Yeah, I thought that was. Like, yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into that. But yeah, sorry.
Wasn't. So I was happily surprised. It was I didn't love it, and I didn't hate it.
Yeah,
so
I was very back and forth on it.
Me too. There's a lot that I was like, huh? And then I was like, and there was a lot I was like, oh, that's pretty clever. That's pretty neat. And then there was some where I literally had to, because it was on Hulu, I could stop it, go back, look at, I'm not kidding, I had to look at, like, I turned on the subtext or subtitle.
Oh, yeah.
Not subtext, it's totally different. The subtitles.
Yeah.
And I turned on the subtitles because I'm like, what did he say? Like the first time he said cauliflower, I was what did he just say?
There are some thick accents in this movie, for sure.
Definitely.
So I have some notes if you'd like to go through my notes.
Let's go through your notes first. Yeah.
First of all, I said...
Nope, totally disagree. What?
I said long intro scene.
Yeah.
Impressive, and it feels like... Well, impressive from a dialogue standpoint. There's a lot of dialogue they're going through.
Yes.
And it's one long scene, and it's with a kid, so the kid had to remember a lot of lines.
Yeah, and I've got a thing for that too.
They're working on the
They're
truck.
working on the truck.
But I like the
Remind
scene.
me, I have a little bit of trivia for that. Sorry. Go ahead. I'm not going to interrupt you anymore.
Yeah?
Go ahead. So anyway, sorry, go ahead. Okay, he's hitting his head on the microphone.
I thought it was very true to working on cars where things take a long time. Yeah. I like that it wasn't like a montage of fixing it up, and it was just like hand me this, hand me that, kind of casually talking.
Yeah.
And the not change in camera, like really sort of hit home that feeling of being in one spot.
Yes, that's
working on a car. I really like
that. That's very astute. I agree.
And going with that, I like that this whole film was very modern Americana, not traditionally where you think of. What's the movie I'm thinking of? With the hot rods, not Grease Lightning, but American Graffiti. American Graffiti is kind of like the big Americana 50s checkered diner, 32 hot rods. This is like very modern Americana, working on a square body pickup truck. I think it's
a little rusted out.
What is it? It's an 83 F100.
Yes.
Very like modern country. He's listening to Country Roads on the CD player.
West Virginia. Is it Country Roads? Is that the name of the song?
Yeah, by John Denver. I believe it's called Country Roads.
I think he's listening to it on a. Is it a cassette player or is it a CD player?
I think it's a
Maybe
CD player.
Yeah, CD.
But like
you do see him put the CD in his truck, which is hilarious because we used to have a CD player in our pickup truck, which is great. So,
and it's, this was made in 2017 where Apple CarPlay, Bluetooth, USB. So it's very like more tradition, like modern country. People still listen to CDs out in the sticks.
Was it this movie that someone was playing an 8-track, or was it a different movie I was thinking?
Might have been a different movie.
Okay, because someone
might have been. Have you been watching a lot of It's Always Sunny?
Yes.
Because they pick up cassettes at the Italian market for their road trip.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking. Shout out to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's a fun show.
We'll do that soon.
Yep.
my next note was Southern drawl, long scenes. So if you're unfamiliar with American culture, there is a sort of there's less urgency in the South, which is a good and bad thing.
Yes, absolutely.
It's just a way of culture of like, people take more time doing things, and that's good in, hellos, goodbyes, you spend more quality time with people, but there's the way that they talk too. I remember some Southern language coach was saying you gotta act like there's molasses spilling out your mouth.
Yeah.
And you gotta talk like that.
Although I have to say, Midwest goodbyes are much longer than
that's
probably
true,
anything
too. Yeah.
on the planet. So, yeah.
There's many stages of a Midwestern goodbye.
Right.
But I think the longer scenes in the very beginning of the movie really captured the Southern feel, even though West Virginia is kind of north.
Right, it is.
Pretty high up,
it is.
West Virginia is south of the north. It's
right.
It's very interesting, and definitely there are parts of Illinois. You drive 3.5 hours south of here.
Yeah,
I mean, really, you drive 45 minutes south of here, and you get people with the drawl.
Yeah,
you got honest to God,
absolutely, no kidding,
red-blooded American farmers.
Well, there's a ton of farmers. There's a ton of farms in Southern Illinois. Lots, and if you go to the tip of the southern Illinois, you are down south.
Yeah,
you really are.
I guess Southern isn't even really the proper term for it. It's more rural.
Yeah, right. Yeah, rural.
Because even I was working in.
Hard for me to say that word. Rural. Okay.
I was working in Michigan. August. I filmed an Oldsmobile up there, and I was filming my friend's engagement.
Yeah.
And I was driving through some rural back roads of Michigan, and I saw a Confederate flag.
You did?
I did.
Wow.
And,
okay.
you meet people who have the Southern accent just a little bit.
Yeah.
And so it's more of a rural, but it is a slower pace. It's a sort of more homey feel, and I think this movie did that feeling really well.
For some reason, I don't know why, I like the Southern accent. I think it's nice.
I do too.
I think it's calming. I think it's really. It's a wonderful accent. It's great. So
Next up,
I
just have Seth MacFarlane British with 4 question marks after it.
Okay, yeah.
So actually, I wish we had recorded this for the podcast because we can't help ourselves sometimes, and we'll chat about the movie a little bit.
True.
So I'll be like, "Oh, did you watch it?"
Yes.
And then we can kind of tell from each other's reactions what we think.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't know why I was like, did you realize Seth MacFarlane was in it? And you said no.
I said no, and I didn't. And at first, I was like, wait, where? Who would he? Yeah.
So there's a character in the movie. He's like this British rock star kind of guy
who owns a energy drink company,
right? And it sponsors one of the NASCARs and stuff. A very B story, if I'm honest.
Very much so. But it's Seth MacFarlane,
creator of Family Guy, Ted.
Yeah.
1,000 Ways to Die in the West, I believe, was one of his. He did some Western.
It was a shocker to me. It was a shocker to me.
Orville. He also did Orville.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, he does this British accent. He's like this British rock star, cocky guy.
Yeah.
And it's just out of left field.
It is, yeah.
It's very weird. And I'm very happy that you didn't know who it was. Because that means he was doing a good job.
Good. Yeah, it was cool. It was good.
I immediately was like, is that something?
Yeah, I totally did not get that. But if you look at his eyes.
Yes. Offshoot of my notes. I don't have this written down.
All right.
But star-studded cast.
Absolutely.
Adam Driver.
Yep.
Channing Tatum.
Yep.
Daniel Craig.
Yep.
Seth MacFarlane.
Yep.
And there's a couple other names. Sebastian Stan is in it.
Oh yeah, that's right. And also,
that was very random.
The woman who plays.
Is that your phone going off? Wow, the first phone interruption of the podcast. Was it 40 some odd episodes? Who is it?
I just want you to hear that.
Did you get a new phone?
No, I didn't. It's Jeff DeLong.
We will get Jeff on the podcast at some point. Yep. He's a connoisseur of strange films, strange art.
Yeah, he's a strange he's a strange
guy.
No, good guy.
Great guy. Family friend.
Yep.
So getting back to this movie, star power. Star power
Big
is what we were talking
power,
about, which is very interesting. My next note.
Yep.
Yep. Oh. One of the lines he says is, "I looked it up on the Google." Did you laugh at that line?
I did. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I thought that was really funny. The next one is very subtle humor.
Yeah.
because they were talking about the curse of the Logan family.
Oh, right. Yes, definitely. Yeah.
And I think it's Adam Driver. He just goes, "Do people say that?"
Oh yeah, well,
because
no,
people are like, oh, they say all this stuff about the Logan family, and then real quiet, and there's no attention paid to it. But Adam Driver just goes, "Do people say that?"
No, actually, they both say it. They both say it. At the
is it both of them?
Both of them say it.
I
at
just
the
remember
same time.
Logan, or not Logan.
Well,
Jeez, I remember
Adam Driver.
Adam Driver, yeah.
Which is, he's and so basically Adam Driver and I can never remember his name.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Yeah.
Get a different name.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember your names.
Great guy. Great guy. I really love Channing Tatum.
Yeah, I mean,
I really do.
He's totally cool. Don't get me wrong. But get a different name.
21 Jump Street, 22 Jump Street.
I
I watched Dear
names.
John on a road trip back from Kansas City.
Yeah.
Which is like a military love story.
You're getting kind of
movie.
the southern twang, by
Am
the way.
I? I don't mean to. I don't mean nothing by it, Pa. Next up, I had I guess stepdad. I don't know. He's Roy from The Office. If you've ever watched The Office, he plays Roy.
Yeah. Right.
He plays I guess the stepdad in the movie.
Yes.
Who gets very defensive of being able to drive stick shift.
Right, because she calls him out. Merle, what is her name? Her name's Melly.
Yeah.
Melly is her name. Because Daniel Craig's character says, "Oh, that rhymes with smelly."
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty.
She was like, "Oh, you pulled up in the V6 automatic,
right?"
And why don't you get a stick shift and shift your own gears?
Right.
And he's like, I could drive stick. I could drive stick.
Exactly,
and then, of course, as a power move, he gets a stick shift later on.
He does. Yeah.
It's a very. My whole point in this southern drawl and all of this is it's a very American movie.
Oh,
yeah, very American stereotype where Europeans watching this or anywhere in Asia, stick shift is still kind of the go-to for basic simple cars.
I mean
it's becoming less and less, of course, but
pretty
much everyone in the UK knows how to drive stick.
Yep.
I'd say most people.
Yeah.
Where here it's it's a point of pride. And so I thought that was a very American response of I could totally drive stick. Or I don't think anyone overseas, everyone's like, yeah, okay. That's not really a flex.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, because you're absolutely right that everyone drives stick.
Yeah.
Anywhere else besides the United States.
Besides the United States, yeah.
Probably everyone drives stick. So
I thought that was funny.
Yeah.
The tractor race, bobbing for pig hooves and toilet seat tossing at the county fair.
Hooey!
Again, very Southern
good.
American good times.
Yeah.
Sort of depiction there.
Yep, that's fun.
This was where they get the two, I think it was two brothers to join the heist.
Yeah.
He goes, all the Twitters, I know them. That line made me laugh out loud so hard because I guess he went to computer school or something.
Right.
He's like, all the Twitters, I know them.
He goes, I went to technology school. Yeah. All the Twitters, I know them. I know everything about computers. Yeah.
I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of reason. Oh, okay. So this is getting towards the actual heist.
Yeah.
I didn't see a whole lot of reason for the heist, if I'm honest. I understand he lost his job. He lost his job because he had a limp. And the two brothers, the two Logan brothers, Adam Driver and Channing Tatum, are kind of known around town as having this bad luck. Adam Driver lost his arm in the war. Adam Driver is a real military veteran.
Is he?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
He enlisted right after 9/11, served.
Oh, I didn't know that. Wow.
I want to say
good
till
for him,
2009, 2010.
Yeah.
And then now is a huge actor. He's like one of those military to actor stories, like Rob Riggles. Is that his name?
Yes. Yes.
He was another military to actor story.
Yep. Exactly. Bam.
So yeah. Pow.
Pow. Pow. Is he saying pow?
Yeah.
Pow.
Yeah.
Shout out to
Step Brothers.
Step Brothers.
Rob Riggles. He plays
he was
most
also in
funny
other guys.
character in every movie.
He's in the other guys.
He's in 21 Jump Street.
Despot.
He gets his dick shot off.
Jeez, wow. All right. Well, that's a great. Yeah. Okay.
It's a great actor. But so I understand the two brothers. They're down on their luck. Basically, they're not a very lucky family. Hence the name.
Right.
The Logan family doesn't really win all that much. But to then go and rob a multi-million-dollar company. It just seemed a little far-fetched. And he was like, oh, we got to do it. It almost seemed too easily planned out. He's like, oh, we just got to do this, this, and this. And then the heist kind of went on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes.
It felt too simple and there wasn't enough reason behind it. If I lost my job tomorrow, knock on wood I don't,
I would expect you to pull a heist.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be like, oh, now I'm going to rob the local racetrack.
Well, you have
millions
to.
Of dollars.
I'm sorry, son. You have to.
I don't know.
That's how it goes. You lose your job, a heist. That's it. That's all you can do. There's nothing else in life, but if you lose a job, you have to pull a heist.
That's what I had right. Yeah, basically my note under that was loss of job, but it seems a little extreme.
No, I know, but I think he was really down on his luck. I mean, he was visiting his daughter. He realized, that he had lost his job. His brother just got picked on at the bar. So a lot of things they were trying to really make it seem pretty crummy.
I agree there, but I think they could have pushed that further.
Do you need a reason to pull a heist?
Well, here's the thing. My girlfriend and I have been watching the show Made on Netflix.
Oh, right, yeah. Right.
Horrendously sad and depressing.
Is it? Okay.
I mean, it's about a single mother going through the system, and she files for food stamps.
Wow.
And it's, it shows all this paperwork.
All right,
and
that's
stuff.
awful. Yeah.
And so, in this movie, yes, he lost his job, but, this sounds terrible, but, he wasn't evicted. He still had his car. All the people around him were, somewhat level-headed.
Yeah.
Like in the show Made, the girl really only has her mom, and her mom's like a loony bin. I mean, like anytime she will only talk about herself only, and all this stuff. Yeah. So I don't know. I just maybe the reason I bring that up is maybe that show has sort of jaded me of maybe these guys don't have it as bad.
Okay, I can see where you would say that, but
I don't know. I just felt like he lost his job, doesn't see his kid all that much. Yeah, that's definitely tough stuff, but I wouldn't jump immediately to robbing a racetrack.
No, I would expect that of you. I would expect you to just go right to heist.
Yeah. The next note I have is Sebastian Stan. That's the whole note. So he played the Winter Soldier in the Marvel series, Bucky.
Oh, yeah, right.
And what's funny is I watched this episode. He has a new documentary series, or not documentary, mockumentary series, I think.
Oh, really?
He has a series out on Hulu. It's about was that Pamela Anderson who had the sex tape?
Yes. Yeah.
So he has a whole.
Was that the Pam and Tommy or Tommy and Pam?
He plays Tommy Lee in that new series.
Okay.
And so he was on a show that I watch all the time called Hot Ones.
Okay.
Where they eat hot wings.
Oh,
and
right.
Hotter and hotter wings.
Yep.
He was on that show on Thursday, this last Thursday.
Yeah.
And then I watched this movie that night.
Oh.
And so I was watching it, and I was like, wait, that's Sebastian Stan, who I just saw on this show, and I haven't heard about in months, and now I'm seeing him twice in one day.
Okay.
It's kind of funny.
All right.
And a very random character.
Yeah, what did he play? I'm sorry.
He was the NASCAR racer.
He was the racer?
He was the racer, yeah. I know you're not familiar with Sebastian Stan.
No, but still,
he was the driver that's like, food is my software, my body's my hardware.
Right. Yeah.
And he wouldn't drink the energy drink on camera because it doesn't fit with his regimen, and the sponsor got all mad. Again, did any of that really matter all that much?
Okay, that's my big question. I have a huge question mark in that whole thing.
I mean, this movie was already 2 hours. Yeah. I felt like we could have done without Sebastian Stan's character, although I love him as an actor. He's fantastic.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. No, that truly is, that was a big question I had was, what the heck? Why did you pull that in? Why was that even part of this movie? It was so bizarre. I understand you're at a racetrack, so you might have some stories, but then they went off and they did a whole thing about Sebastian's character.
Yeah.
Was that his name or is that his character?
And it was at home, and he's at his at-home gym, and
there was way too much information.
Yeah, and he's talking about. I remember he was talking about the food is his software, and he has it dialed in to this perfect balance of energy and all this stuff, and he looks at all the statistics, and
so
it was, in hindsight, that was a very unnecessary part of the film.
Well, absolutely, because what they could have done. Had I directed the film, no, what they could have done was, there's a crew chief, and he spins out of. You don't hear anything else.
Yeah,
he spins out of control. The crew chief says, I've only seen him do this once before, when he had an energy drink or something.
Yeah,
and then he didn't have anything, did he? And then he turns to the owner.
Yeah,
who is played by. whatever his name is.
Seth MacFarlane?
Seth MacFarlane.
Yeah.
He would turn to him and go, he didn't have an energy drink, did he? And then, of course, it would be this wah, wah, you know, and it would be, so you could have covered that in like 2 sentences. You could have covered it very quickly.
There's a lot of backstory for
nothing
necessarily any payoff.
No.
I mean, there was a little bit of payoff, I guess, if you go, oh, yeah, this is the health freak guy. But like you said, could have been handled in 2 sentences.
It could have. And there's other characters in this film, which we will get to, which were like, what? Like, why did their story appear in this story? Like, how important it is. We'll get into that.
Next up, I wrote the Game of Thrones argument.
Yes,
so
right.
This was a very, very funny scene to me, where the prisoners are talking to the warden, and they were saying that I forgot about
the detail of it. Yeah,
the 2 new inmates were explaining things in Game of Thrones that they didn't know yet because they only read the books.
Right,
which is true to real life. The TV show passed the books because George R.R. Martin was so slow at reading so slow at writing them.
Right.
However, shout out to George R.R. Martin for writing Game of Thrones. He owns a 1st gen RX-7.
He does?
Silver 1st gen RX-7.
Silver one, really?
Yeah,
that's unusual.
It was posted. He has like this nice house in California,
and a 1st gen.
He has a silver FB. I think his license plate is like R.R. Martin or something like that, or like GOT for Game of Thrones or something. He had like some vanity plate.
Yeah.
So it obviously was his and not like someone visiting.
All right, well that's fine. That's
but
cool,
anyway, the inmates are mad because they heard new things about Game of Thrones.
Right.
And the warden's like, I don't know what to tell you. He hasn't written any new books.
Exactly.
I thought that was so funny.
That was funny. That was funny.
Very unneeded banter, but I was like, it is pretty funny. And I did look it up. This is listed as a comedy on Hulu.
Oh, yeah. It is a comedy. There's no... Yes.
It's just very cut and dry comedy. Yes. It's not like grab your stomach and...
Right.
Yeah.
When I first started watching it, I was like, okay, so what is this? Is it going to be serious? Or what is it, a drama? What is this? And then I started going, okay, this is probably supposed to be funny. It's a comedy, but it's not a ha-ha comedy.
Right.
You know, it's not like, you know, the other guys or Step Brothers or whatever, all that. This is more of a, okay, that actually is funny, but...
And going along with that, and going along with the jail scene, I have written here, it's very weird that they chose to go with the black and white striped jumpsuits for the prisoners, which is a very, I don't know if that was ever used ever.
I believe it was.
Was it really in real jails?
Yeah, I believe it was.
I remember like Shawshank and stuff, they're all in like blue overalls, basically.
Yeah.
And now, obviously, modern, you have the bright yellow,
orange, fluorescent orange, yeah.
And I thought that was a weird... choice to make have them in like 1920s style black and white stripe robber.
True. If it was
prisoner outfits.
Exactly. If it was more, I mean, I guess maybe that's to show how backward the jail was, because they didn't exactly have a super high tech jail, and you know, in that prison. It's not a jail; it's a prison, really, where a lot of scenes take place. Daniel Craig's character has to be broken out of jail to do a heist, and then be brought back to jail, so no one knows he left jail.
Right. To
actually blow up a safe, which, by the way, that whole thing was confusing too. I'm not sure why did they have to blow it up. Yeah, you don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you that.
That's my question: is why did you have to blow up a safe that you were just basically vacuuming out the money through a tube? Why did you have to blow it up? Why was there smoke? Why?
Yeah.
I don't understand what was all with that. So yeah,
my last note here is I thought the ending was rewarding.
Yeah.
I thought that it paid off in certain ways.
It did certain ways,
I was satisfied with the ending.
Yeah. It's okay.
But
it was all right.
We can get to your I don't know if you have
I do have
notes.
Well, I don't have physical
just
notes.
Mental notes.
Because I don't take any notes ever. But I do have physical notes, or I do have mental notes. So one of the things is, let's go to the very, very beginning scene. We were talking about that. At one part, and I don't know why I caught this, but he's fixing a truck, and he's asking for the different tools.
Yeah.
And so he says screwdriver, and she says flathead or Phillips, you know, and that's really good because that's what you need to do. Not sure what he's working on, that he would have that many different tools, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah.
I can give him that. However, when he says pliers, she reaches for and starts to pick up the needle nose. And she says needle nose or regular, and he says needle nose, and she continues to hand it to him. So she had already picked up the needle nose. Now, that is super picky because she could have picked him up, but it wasn't like she picked him up and then went, what kind? She literally said what kind as she was picking up.
I wonder if it was 80 yard. I don't know.
I don't know either, but I'm just saying that
very
it was
nitpicky over this.
Very nitpicky that she actually started, because I look for things like.
So now this movie's worse than Rush.
No.
Okay, that's fair. Okay.
No, there is no movie. I'm not going to go there.
We will revisit Rush. I swear to God.
Maybe someday. Maybe if I'm feeling.
We're coming up on our 50th episode. Maybe we'll do.
Really?
We're at 44.
Okay. All right. So maybe we'll do a reboot or something. So there was a lot of scenes in this movie where I was like, well, we didn't really need to know that. There wasn't really a good reason to have that information available to us. There were times too. I'm not exactly sure why there was, when Seth MacFarlane, I'm just going to call him Seth MacFarlane. I think his name is Max, isn't it? Max in this movie?
Yeah, but we refer to all of the characters as their actor names.
So let's say Seth, he asks for a Stoli, right? He wants a martini, basically. So he asks for a Stoli, and Adam Driver's character, so Adam basically says to him, on the rocks or up. And so Seth says up, and then you see this whole routine where Adam Driver takes off his arm, takes off his forearm.
Yeah, because he's missing an arm in the movie. He's an Army veteran who's missing an arm.
Right. So he takes off his fake arm. He then goes through this really elaborate process of mixing this drink.
One-handed.
Yeah. Which I then had to look up what up meant when you order a drink up.
What does that mean?
So basically what that means is that you want the alcohol chilled but no ice cubes in your drink. Essentially, that's what up means.
Oh, that's annoying.
Yeah, so basically that's why he put the big ice cube in the shaker, put the vodka in the shaker, shook up the shaker to get the vodka cold. Then he strains it out and puts the 2 olives in. So very, very cool if this was like a bar movie.
Right.
Like you would have gone, oh, wow, that's really cool how he did that. And I had to honestly, because I don't order a lot of drinks, I had to look up what up meant.
I guess that makes sense, though, because I guess it's a way to show that this character is very eccentric. You know, who goes to like a...
I guess.
I guess not neighborhood.
It's a roadside bar.
It was a roadside towny bar.
Yeah.
And orders this elaborate martini. I guess that was kind of a showing of character. But I agree. I think they spent too much time on it.
I did too. I think that, okay, so then they did that. Now, his reaction was that he wanted to see it again. He goes, oh, do that trick with your arm. And then his brother comes over, who is Channing Tatum. Channing. Get a new name.
Yeah,
okay, so Channing Tatum comes over. Who is the name Channing, right?
Channing, yeah.
Channing?
I guess I've never heard of another
I've
Channing.
never heard of a Channing, but...
I wonder if it's a stage name. I don't know if
probably is. It's his first name was probably Bob.
Yeah.
It's fine. Whatever. So...
Bob Tatum probably sells cars.
That's probably fine.
Bob Tatum's
all right,
Buick.
I'm sorry,
sounds
Channing,
right.
but you're always welcome on the show.
Yeah.
So anyway, he comes out and he's limping because he has a hurt leg. And so Seth says, hey, between the two of you, with your bum leg and your one arm, he goes, you have a whole person.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of like he could have made the joke without him making the drink.
Yeah.
And us seeing that. But then that gave them the reason to set his car on fire. Seth's car gets set on fire. Okay. I'm not exactly sure why we totally needed to see all that, except for the fact that it shows that Channing Taylor's character was on his, I don't want to say his last leg, but because that's a bad, whoa.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Also, why would you assume that someone has a bad leg just from limping?
Right.
It's like you could have just stood up weird. Like,
right.
I'm getting to that age where like I limp sometimes. Like it's
well,
just
or
like,
your foot's asleep.
Yeah.
You know, and
you just met the guy.
Right. So, Anyway, I don't know. There was that seemed really contrived, that whole thing, and so
let's hear some parts that you did like, because you're very
okay,
not hypocritical, just regular critical of the movie. What did you like?
Yeah. So there was a lot of things actually that I liked. There were some very clever things like about the heist itself. There were very clever bits of the heist that I thought, oh, that's pretty neat. I wouldn't have thought of that. That's pretty cool. That's pretty true to. That's pretty realistic, or that's pretty true, or that's that's pretty interesting. Some of the, like some of the Southern references, some of the interaction between the prisoners was pretty fun.
Yeah, I thought there was some very playful banter, and there was some good jokes thrown in there.
Exactly, and I did love the fact that. When the guy who was selling Fords, by the way, is a Ford
salesman.
He was a Ford salesman, but he really wanted to push the Ford Mustang.
Yeah, and
he had the Ford Mustang, and they pulled up in this fair, and Channing's sister, Melly, that's the character's name, Melly. She's getting stuff out of the trunk of a Nova.
Yeah,
I would rather have that Nova. Big time.
Oh yeah, I think
over a Mustang. I would. Okay. I would.
I know the scene you're talking about now.
Yeah,
because he pulls up in it's a V6 or an EcoBoost.
Yeah, it's a V6.
Mustang.
Yeah, it's a V6 Mustang.
I agree with you.
Okay,
I would much rather have the Nova over that Mustang.
I would.
But the later blue one that they use,
that's pretty sweet.
So that's a Mustang GT350.
Oh, okay,
that's the one I played the sound of last episode.
Oh, okay.
I drove one of those.
Yeah, that's pretty
in
sweet.
stick shift.
Yeah. Yeah, okay. All
right,
I'll
think
give you that.
Personally that's one of the best American cars ever built.
Really?
Truly.
Are you serious?
They made a Mustang actually handle, which is unheard of.
Yeah.
I really think I watched a video recently, and I agree with the video. I think we're really in a golden age of cars right now, where muscle cars can actually turn. Like muscle cars are at you can get the Chevy Camaro, the one what's the package? 1LE package, I believe, which is like bigger brakes, aero.
Okay, all right.
And it's actually built for the track to actually take corners.
Mm-hmm.
The GT350 can also take corners. You can actually, drive it and turn the wheel, and it doesn't freak out and want to kill you.
So there's some cornering there. It can
where I drove even mid 2000s Mustangs.
Yeah.
You try to corner them, they have the solid rear axles, so they just kick out and want to kill you.
Right.
And so now they actually have. They just got independent rear suspension in 2015.
Okay.
Which is been around since the late 70s.
All right.
So yeah, that GT350 I think I'd take over all the cars in the film. But I agree that one scene, the EcoBoost Mustang versus
between the two.
Nova, that Nova was really cool.
That Nova was really cool, and it was clean, and I was like, wow, I would take that Nova over that Mustang any day. Any day.
Yeah.
So with that, and it's kind of funny. I love the banter where he's kind of talking down to her.
Yeah.
And she's like, "Well, I'm sorry. I'm surprised you didn't go with the V8. You can really feel the road, and you're not driving stick." And
which when she goes, you can really feel the road. I'm like, that has nothing to do with the V8.
I know, but still, the whole idea of she's giving it back to him, and that was really great. It was really cute, the scenes with I did love where the daughter sings
Country Roads by John Denver. Yeah.
She sings that in the pageant because it's her dad's favorite song. I was like, okay, that totally got me. I'm like, I'm a sucker for things like that. Mm-hmm. The daughter singing that to her dad because it was her dad's favorite, and she sees him enter the auditorium when she's doing this Little Miss pageant or whatever.
And it's very telling, too, because I remember growing up in the truck.
Yeah.
And having that, it was a white CD that just said 007 on it in blue Sharpie.
Right, yeah.
And I remember all those 007 sounds.
Oh, yeah.
Not soundtracks, but songs from 007.
Yeah. Right.
And I remember listening to those over and over and over and over again in the
truck.
truck.
We listened to them a lot.
Along with B-52s and
stuff.
Oh,
B-52s we played a lot.
I understand being a little kid, probably her age, and and reciting those sorts of songs because that's what you hear in the car.
Yeah, which was exactly
very very sweet moment.
It was because it was her connection with him, and she showed him because she was going to sing another song, and then she switched it at the last second and changed it. She said, "I'm going to sing this because it's my dad's favorite."
Yeah,
and
it's my Peepaw's favorite.
Yeah. And so I thought that was very sweet. I like that a lot. I mean, there's a lot of things that I thought were very fun. I thought that they were, it was enjoyable. But, there was a balance. And so it was it was weird because it was like, I really wanted to love this movie, and I didn't totally love it, but I didn't hate it. It was just a very even-keeled, balanced movie, I guess. I don't know.
No, I agree. Yeah. I agree. There was definitely high points. There was definitely low points.
Yeah.
That's the thing is that I'm very lukewarm on this movie.
Yeah.
It's rare that I don't know how I feel.
Right.
And you hear me
it's
verbally
true.
stuttering.
Right.
And I always, whenever I review a car that I don't know how to feel, I try to leave those verbal stutters that I have in the video because I think it's actually a good way of showing how I feel is that I don't know really what I feel, and I'm very back and forth, and I think my voice kind of reflects that sometimes where I'm like, it's a car. So I was very back and forth on this movie as well. A couple cars to note. We'll get to some cars here real quick.
We'll talk about that. Definitely.
The 1973 Chevy Nova. That's the one that you wanted.
I really like that car.
And what's funny is that I was all ready to jump on here and say, well, the Novas didn't sell well in Mexico because it literally translates to Nova. VA means go. And I was all ready for that because I always do the research while I'm watching the movie.
Okay. While you're watching,
I'm very bad at single tasking.
And I'm the opposite.
I know. So I had that written down, and then in the movie, the Ford salesman goes, "Well, those didn't sell too well in Mexico because it means no." And I was like, "Ah."
And she says, "No, it don't. No, it didn't."
Yeah.
And then he's like, "Look it up."
Yeah.
And that's the funny thing is you were looking it up right then.
I've known that about Novas for a while. Yeah. And I was like, oh, my one fact about Novas is like the dad fact. Like that's like the dad joke of facts.
Yeah. And what's funny about that is that in mechanic school, when I was going to be a mechanic, that's one of the things that one of our teachers said. He said,
"Oh, really?"
Yes. He said you have to be careful.
Funny.
Well, he said you have to be careful about what you name a car because Nova means no go in Spanish, and so it didn't do well in Mexico. And so that I remembered from 1992.
Oh, wow.
No, it was maybe 1990.
80s, right?
1990. Okay. 1990. Before I got married.
Next up, Ford Fusion NASCAR, which is like featured on the cover.
Really? Was that?
It's a Ford. I mean, it's just a Ford NASCAR. It has the Fusion body, but it's it's a V8.
Yeah.
All right. Not a whole lot of NASCAR-ness in this movie.
Not really. Not really.
Way more heist than NASCAR. I was expecting.
There's a lot of heist. A lot of heist. A lot of time
I was
for the heist.
expecting a lot more car stuff.
Yeah. Right.
There's the Nova, and there was working on the F-100 and stuff, but it's not. Yeah. I don't know if I would put this into a car movie category.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Which, this is a car movie podcast, but I don't know. It's just I was expecting more of the actual racing. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah.
Okay.
Next up, 1983 Ford F-100. That's what he's fixing at the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
Old square body.
Yep.
Fords are always cool.
Yep.
The 2016 Shelby GT350 Mustang. My favorite. And we played the sound of that in the last episode.
Yeah, it was blue, right?
It was blue with white stripes. So the one I drove was black on black, which was like, I mean, that is menacing, and that was so cool. But I do like the blue with the white stripes. Very Shelby.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That car, so far, is the best American car I think I've driven.
Really?
Yeah, I liked it that much.
Wow, that says a lot because you've driven a ton of cars.
Yeah, I just finished review 731. The thing about it is really the engine. So it's not the 5-liter Coyote engine that's put into Mustang GTs. So like all the new the 5.0s. Which, been around for a while.
Yep.
It's the Coyote engine.
Okay.
This is actually a different engine. Has a flat plane crank, and it's a 5.2 liter.
Okay.
And it revs to 8,250 RPM is the red line. So 8,250 for the red line, which out of an American V8
American,
is
that's right.
nuts.
Now,
like even the Mustang Z06 or not Mustang, Corvette Z06 from the mid 2000s, the 7-liter would go to 7,000 RPM, which at the time is insane for what is the word? It's not even an overhead cam. It's a pushrod engine.
Oh.
For a pushrod engine, going to 7,000 RPM is nuts.
Yeah.
But then now an American V8 going to 8,250 is insane.
I guess I'm used to you talking about your car.
Yeah, I mean the RX. Well, here's the thing: the RX-7 redlines at about 8,000 RPM.
Okay.
My RX-7.
Right. Yeah.
So this is a American V8.
Yeah.
That revs higher than my rotary engine.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah, it is insane.
That is insane.
That
and
is
I remember
that is true.
And I remember that it's specifically 8,250 RPM because I said in the video when I reviewed it, this thing goes to 8,200, and every Mustang owner in the comments lost their flipping minds.
Really?
They're like, it's 8,250, you freaking idiot! Like all this stuff, and I was like,
82.
That's literally 50 RPM. That is nothing.
Wow.
Like people got like pissed.
That's less than 1 revolution per minute difference.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not. It's 50 revolutions per minute difference, right?
I'm sorry. So it's less than 1 revolution. No. Yes.
Because RPM literally means revolutions per minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Revolutions.
It's a very small amount.
I'm sorry. What I meant was per second.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Per second.
Okay. So that's the
that
difference.
makes sense. Yeah. Okay. It took a while to get there. But
I know because I'm old and
it's okay. You're sundowning, and that's okay.
All right. Okay.
But yeah. That's all I had. For cars. I mean, that's the thing is there wasn't too many crazy cars. Oh wait, also Daniel Craig getting in the back seat of a Mustang.
Yeah.
No way in hell that would happen.
Oh yeah, that's true. I never thought about that.
I've done backseat reviews on several Mustangs.
Yeah.
I don't fit, and I am way shorter than him. And the biggest issue is my head hits the glass. I drove a 2019 Mustang GT, so just the 5-liter.
Yep.
Had some Roush body parts on it, whatever. And I sat in the back, and I'm like, all right, so I'm in the back of the Mustang, and I slide back and nail my head on the rear windshield.
Oh, my gosh.
And I stopped the video, and I'm like, ow. Like, my head doesn't even fit properly.
Well,
so the idea of Daniel Craig changing clothes
I was
going to
say changing clothes.
That is the most far-fetched part of this entire film.
Exactly.
Entire film.
Absolutely. I would say, yes, the fact that he was changing clothes, the fact that he was in the back seat, but then also changing clothes, and he seemed very far away in the rearview mirror.
It looked roomy. I was like,
right, exactly.
No way.
It did look roomy. So that is the most unrealistic thing of this whole movie. No, and I know too. Again, there were some things about this film, like for instance, the fact that they didn't tell them. He didn't tell them his whole plan.
Yeah.
And so he was hiding some information from them. Okay, we can spoil it.
Yeah.
So basically, he didn't tell them that he was siphoning off money.
Right.
He was basically, they were stealing money from a vault. They were sucking it out with a vacuum, basically sucking out the money. Okay, through tubes. So they had one set of money in barrels going out the front door. They had a second set that no one else knew about. Channing Tatum only knew about it and his sister. They were sucking out money and going out the other door. You find this out at the very end, and so that's a major spoiler. But I probably should have said that before I mentioned it.
We're past the 10 minutes. We're cleared of everything.
Okay. So anyway, but my question was, I get it that he was hiding the money, and that was very clever that he hid the money, and then the racetrack said, we have no idea how much we lost. So our insurance company paid us, and we're happy with that.
Yeah, they're like, it's a closed deal.
Right, it's a closed deal. Right,
we're good now.
We're happy with that. We're fine with that now, and that's it. And that's all we care about. And then, of course, Channing Tatum's character, he's got this extra money that no one knew about, and so that was hidden. And so now the other thing was, he was paying off people that I was like, why is he paying off these people? Why is he giving big chunks of money to all these different people?
Yeah, he gave the chunk of money to that nurse.
Which was fine because she told him that they didn't have enough money in their mobile medical unit.
Right.
They didn't have enough money.
I just feel like it was just such a minor.
It was very minor. So
it's like someone holding the door for him, and
right?
Like, you know?
Yes, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
And then also the woman with the cake. Remember, they sent this woman a cake.
Well, they did mess up her car.
Yeah, they did. But why did they mess up her car? I mean, the whole point. So
Yeah.
I didn't fully understand, and maybe it's just because I'm stupid, but I didn't fully understand why. So they send this woman a cake, right?
Yeah.
This woman works at the vault,
Right.
where they're going to steal the money from the vault. They send her a cake. Now, my question is, why did she and all of her coworkers go into the vault to eat the cake?
Yeah, that is strange. I will say that is strange, but I understand why they did the cake.
I do, so that they could put it in the cockroaches.
Yeah, and figure out which tubes led to the vault.
Yes.
Because they color-coded the cockroaches.
Right.
I didn't understand why she was painting cockroaches,
Yes.
and I originally typed out a note, and I was like, is that like a Southern tradition? Like, do you paint cockroaches? Like, is that like part of the fair?
And if you haven't seen this movie, that's going to totally confuse you about what we just said, but yeah.
Real quick, they paint a bunch of cockroaches, different colors, like 5 of each color.
With nail polish.
With nail polish.
Yeah.
And then they release them into the tubes.
Yes.
And then they find out which cockroaches were all over the cake in the vault, because obviously whichever tube led to the vault, then they would find that color of cockroaches in the vault.
So that made sense.
Right.
Got it. But number one, why did they bring the cake into the vault to eat it?
Weird.
That's weird.
I mean, you've worked in corporate America.
Yes.
You would never,
ever bring food or drink into a vault, ever. I mean, that's like a big no-no. And also, they didn't finish the cake, so they left the cake in there. Now, why would her coworkers... Okay, so what happens is she's called outside by security officers
because her car got
wrecked. So she leaves the cake in the vault, and she goes to get her car.
Why wouldn't her coworkers bring the cake back out?
Exactly. Why wouldn't?
I mean, that's true. Yeah. I don't doubt you there. That's kind of a lacking reasoning.
That was very, to me, that was like weak writing. That was like, wait, what? Why would you? So that was one thing that I was like, well, that doesn't make any sense at all. Now, it is interesting to try and you know, you talk about a heist movie, and there's always some different way. Now, when we did the Fast and Furious, of course, they just chained up a vault behind a car.
About different heist movies.
Yeah,
oh
no kidding.
God.
Exactly. So, but in this, it was clever because the money, the cash was being moved through tubes. Now, I used to work for banks, so I was very used to those tube systems, and we use those. And yeah, that is a way that cash businesses, especially in a large, place like that, would
huge 100,000 person stadium. Yeah,
exactly. But also keep in mind that the money being changed would have been smaller bills. Yeah. Because a lot of it was concessions. Oh,
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah.
There were like hundreds and stuff.
There was hundreds in there. Most people would not be, well, I don't know. Maybe that food at the or maybe the food at the Speedway honestly, is really expensive.
Yeah, if you go to any like Cubs game, it's like $19 for a burger.
Yeah,
so.
it is. It's crazy. So maybe,
but no, I agree. I think it would be 20s and 10s and 5s and 1s, not necessarily $100 bills.
Because
also they would not be that nicely.
No, they would not
up.
be.
They'd be like spit on and
it would be. It would be awful. Because we did the event. Remember, we're talking about the $1 million pallet. That was, but that pallet of money was in 20s and singles and 10s and things like that. That was a lot.
It always just makes me think of the dodgeball scene. Have you ever seen $100 million, or have you ever seen $100,000 in real life? It's just one stack of bills.
Well, I think it was like 50,000 though.
Oh, was
Didn't he say like 50,000?
So, whatever it was.
And it's hilarious because
I'm sure you've seen it in movies, but not in real life, and it's just like this tiny amount. Of money.
It is, and in fact, it's not really that much. But when you have singles and 5s and 10s and stuff, very, very different. So that is one thing that if they, it's a little bit different. Clever that they got him out of prison. They got Daniel Craig out of prison and then put him back in.
They broke him back in before they noticed.
Yeah. But again, it was kind of like, okay, that was really far-fetched about how they could do that.
Yeah.
And then for some reason, the warden beats him up, and then they let him go. The warden beats him up, and then he's free to go.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so why did the warden beat you up after all that? Why did we need to see that? Just because we need to know that the warden's a really terrible person again?
Yeah.
And he never gets seen again. The warden, well, except at the very end, when the FBI agent, which we haven't talked about yet, the FBI agent, a female FBI agent comes at the very end and is trying to figure out trying to figure out the crime, trying to figure out the heist, who did it. Now, this is a character brought in at the very end of the movie that you and I both were like, why did they bring this person in? It was, it was very difficult.
Well, first, I guess they did use her because the racetrack was like, oh, we're done with that.
Right.
Okay, we got our payout.
Right.
Whatever. But, like, it shows her going to the warden. It shows her, like, putting all these pieces together, and she's like, oh, everyone has alibis, all this stuff. And then, obviously, they don't solve the case, the FBI.
Right. And
so then, at the end of the movie, she's seen at the bar getting a drink from Adam Driver.
Yep.
And it pans away, and Channing Tatum's with his sister, which also, by the way, I thought was his girlfriend the whole time.
I know. I did too for
a
long time.
I did not know who it was.
For a long time.
I thought it was his girlfriend and then his ex-wife or whatever.
It was not. Yeah, it was not spelled out. It wasn't like he didn't come in, which is usually how they usually announce it is, "Hey sis, how you doing? What's going on today, sis?"
Which
or whatever.
No one actually talks like that.
No, but they do it in movies so that
movies.
you know who's what and what's going on. So
they're always like, "Oh, hey, what's the weather today in Brooklyn, New York, where we are?" You know what I mean? Like you always get like that stuff. Or like, how was your job at the accounting office downtown today? You know, like they always over-explain.
Sis or mom or dad or bro or whatever.
Hello,
I mean,
father.
Exactly. And you have some.
Honestly,
up
until you started saying his sister with the Nova, I thought it was his girlfriend this entire time.
Yeah. Really?
Yeah, because I thought because getting back to it, the end of the movie, it shows Adam Driver's giving a drink to this FBI agent.
Yes.
She doesn't know that he was connected, or
maybe not. We don't know.
But then it pans over the bar, and Channing Tatum's with his now sister, who I thought was girlfriend, and Daniel Craig is with a girl too, right?
Daniel Craig is with his sister.
That's his sister too?
Well, no. Daniel Craig is with his sister. Wait, who is with the?
They both had girls with them, I thought.
Right. So who had?
So Daniel Craig must be with a girlfriend.
No, so Daniel Craig was with Mellie, which was Channing Tatum's sister.
Yeah.
Right. And then Channing Tatum
was with
the nurse from the bus.
Okay. That makes sense then.
So, yes.
I thought everyone was dating each other. So I thought this ending scene, I thought this FBI agent was going to like date Adam Driver.
Right, that's what I thought too.
Because everyone else had a girl.
I thought that too. I thought, now it might be this sweet thing, and then no, it's not. It's
also, talk about Southern big families and family tree branches that extend way further than. It's more of a thing in Southern culture where like you have like even your exes are still kind of a part of the family.
Yeah, right.
It's a very northern thing of like if you break up with someone or have an ex-husband, they're not invited to the family events.
Nah, it's not like that. Yeah.
In the South, they're like, well, you're still a part of the family. It's just I'm not seeing you, if that makes sense.
Well, in
it's
fact,
a different culture.
Yeah, the Ford dealer guy. We're just going to call him the Ford dealer guy.
Let's call him Roy from The Office.
Roy from The Office basically says to Mellie, he says, "Hey, you're family. I'll give you a discount."
Right.
And she says, "I'm not family," and so you're right. It's like, well, they didn't really, and Channing Tatum is pretty cool with Roy from The Office.
Yeah. Magic Mike is nice to Roy from The Office. It's the weirdest crossover.
Exactly. Exactly. But no, it's true though. They were nice to each other, even though he had married his wife, his ex-wife. So
I do want to. We're getting over an hour here, so we'll get into trivia and stuff here in a second. But I did want to touch on one thing that I looked up right before this.
Okay. All right.
Was the budget. Do you know the budget?
No idea.
What's your guess on
My
the budget?
guess is it's going to be really high because you have a lot of highfalutin characters here. I'm going to say 90 million.
29 million.
Oh.
Which must have gone all to the stars.
It had to.
And what's interesting is that it only grossed 27 million here in the U.S.
Really?
But it grossed 48 million worldwide.
Oh.
So as we'll get to here in a second with the
it was successful. It was good.
It was more successful worldwide is the biggest thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
Which is very interesting because that's sort of the reason I brought it up at the beginning with all the Southern drawl and Southern this,
American
Southern
culture,
that, American culture.
Yeah.
That's all kind of foreign to foreign viewers, obviously.
True. Yeah.
So like that's their view of America, and a lot of this stuff is true.
Okay.
And like you also have to remember that the United States is one of the largest countries ever, and so we have multiple American cultures. I think an American Brooklyn culture is a very different experience than a Mississippi experience than it is a Californian experience.
We're basically a giant salad. They call it the salad bowl, not the melting pot, the salad bowl, because there's a lot of varieties of different people. So when you say biggest, we have the biggest mix, I think, of
I
people.
think like you also have to remember, I mean, physical space too. I mean, like,
well, not compared to like Russia or China or something. I mean,
but like we have the Grand Canyon,
yeah,
which looks nothing like the hills of, South Dakota. That looks nothing like Miami.
So we
looks nothing like Washington.
True, we have a great variety.
Right. Yeah.
We have a very expansive variety. We're not as big as Canada.
Yeah.
We're space wise,
right.
But I think we have a greater variety. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things about the United States that's so cool is that you can go from coast to coast.
Yeah.
You can see mountains, you can see deserts, you can see just all sorts of stuff. In the United States there's just everything you can possibly think of as far as terrain goes, okay? Yeah. So of great variety, and within that you have lots of different ethnicities, you have lots of different people from all over the place that have come to the United States, and that's what's really cool, because you're right. There are the cultures within the United States. There's cultures within cultures. It's crazy.
I just always remember Top Gear would talk about how nowhere in Britain would you ever drive like on a road trip and need to stop to stretch your legs.
Really?
They're like the longest road trip you could do in Britain's like 6 hours.
Okay, that's
not
true.
very big.
Yeah,
so like
true. Yeah.
Here, you can drive 6 hours south of Chicago.
Yeah.
You're still in Illinois.
Still.
I mean, you're going to hit that border at like 6 hours.
Yeah.
But it's possible to drive 12 hours in Texas and not leave the state.
Really?
Going in one.
Okay.
If you go directly across it, I mean, it's wide.
Yeah, it's true. It is a big state. Absolutely.
To go down to Florida, part of the U.S.
Yep.
It takes 2 days to drive down there.
Yeah, it does.
And that's 12-hour days.
It is true. When I was working with a guy from Great Britain, that was one of the comments he made is, why is everything so far apart?
Yeah.
And we were just around Chicagoland area, and I'm like, really? That's not that. He's like, well, your office is over here and this is over here, and I'm like, well, yeah, that's not that far.
Yeah.
And the traffic is really bad, and we know that. And it's
my point being is that since this made so much overseas and stuff, is that you could very well live in Illinois, you can very well live in Wisconsin, and never meet someone with a Southern accent.
Yeah.
I mean, like if you don't travel much, or like just stay in, I don't know, Rochelle, Illinois.
Okay. You could.
Okay, Rochelle's pretty rural, but you know what I mean. Like you could live in Milwaukee and probably not meet someone that lives or that has a Southern accent like that.
Oh,
There's
right.
Parts of the country where you can live and have no contact with other cultures like this.
Yep, exactly.
So I do say it's an American experience, but it's not the only American experience.
True. Yes.
So we'll get into some trivia brought to you by, but in no way sponsored by, IMDb.
Yep.
And this ties into that with that fact. So the film was distributed by cutting out studios in order to have creative control and make more money directly from the film itself.
Huh.
So, accordingly, for this atypical distribution method, Steven Soderbergh, who did the film,
yeah,
raised the budget by selling off foreign distribution rights and then sold everything except the movie showing up to... Wait. That didn't make sense. And then sold everything except the movie showing up in a movie theater in order to pay for advertising and prints of the movie. For example, selling post-theatrical rights to the likes of HBO, Netflix, video-on-demand television, and airplanes. So he sold this movie to these distributors firsthand, didn't go through like a studio or a distribution house or anything. Yeah. And he sold it to these companies before the movie was made. So that's how he raised the budget.
All right. okay, so he had named people that he could say, I've got all these named people in this movie. Let's distribute it. Yeah.
So
okay,
by following these steps, Soderbergh was able to sidestep a Hollywood studio and have creative control the entire time. For instance, the trailers that dropped earlier this summer were by his design, and also the poster was entirely his idea.
Wow. Okay.
So he got to control everything. It wasn't like people in an office making up the poster.
That's cool.
Also, according to Soderbergh, under this setup, the box office bar for success was way lower. With nearly everything prepaid, there was no hefty distribution fees coming off the top. Even a modest $15 million opening would be a win.
Yeah.
So everything was already paid for once the movie came out, which I guess, I don't know much about movie distribution, isn't normally the case. They still have to pay out afterwards for this, that, and the other.
Yep.
This is like buying a car cash, essentially. You own it.
Yes.
And you could do whatever you want with it.
Yes. This is, I would say more like this is, but this is like buying a car cash, except that you have 10 people that have given you the money for the car, and you're going to let them take it for drives.
Right.
So you're going to let them borrow the car. You're going to let them Uber it so that they can make money with the car.
Right.
And, so you did get the car at the end. You own the car, and you could sell it or Uber it or whatever you want to do. But everyone gets to use it and make money off of it. So that's how my analogy would be.
I thought that was a very interesting distribution.
A very different model.
Model.
And so cool for him to do that.
Right.
Because I think that there's a lot of trappings that go on when you have a big studio that gets involved and does distribution. There's you lose a lot of control. Go ahead.
Next fact: several NASCAR drivers have cameos in Logan Lucky. Ryan Blaney as the Coke delivery boy, and Kyle Larson as the limo driver. Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch as West Virginia State Troopers. I spotted that one.
I didn't spot that.
I was like, I thought he drove for NASCAR or something. The two police officers that pull over, I believe,
purple.
Roy. Oh yeah!
No,
No. It was that purple.
It's a purple cat.
It was like an Eldorado.
Yeah, I
think
it was an Eldorado, but she called it purple.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was Carl Edwards and Kyle Busch, who are both very well-known NASCAR drivers, and Brad Keselowski and Joey Logando.
What about Jeff Gordon?
Yes, he's one of the announcers, but he's an actual announcer.
Yeah, that's a pretty actual. Yeah. Okay.
So a couple of NASCAR cameos, which was really cool. So if you are a NASCAR fan, you get to sort of point out, oh hey,
look. That's good.
Michael Shannon and Matt Damon were originally part of the cast, but both dropped out due to scheduling conflicts.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know who Michael Shannon is, but
I don't know I don't know what Matt Damon would have played, but it
knowing
would have been
him
fun.
As he was in what was
he was in Deadpool 2.
Yes,
Deadpool 2 Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah,
he was in that one, and he was all made up, and you'd have no idea that was him. But go ahead.
Somebody at the studio had a sense of humor. For the movie poster, actually reads, and introducing Daniel Craig.
Oh, you're
on the posters,
kidding.
it says, and introducing Daniel
That's
Craig.
Hilarious.
Who at this point had done probably, 3 out of his 4?
I think so. Yeah, he was
James Bond movies?
He was definitely, like, big-time James Bond at that point.
Super well-known.
Super well, and so for him to play something else.
Also, if you're a big Daniel Craig fan, please watch Knives Out.
Really?
It's on Amazon.
I have not seen that.
Very good movie.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
I'll have to watch that.
It has my celebrity crush in it that I don't know how to say her name.
Okay.
She plays the main lead. I don't even know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't even know how to say her name.
Okay,
it's a very Spanish name.
It's
yeah, sounds about it. But that's a very good movie.
Okay.
Also has I think it's a BMW 2002 in it. Like 2002, the car, not the year.
Is it one we're gonna review?
No. Maybe. I don't know. I really like that movie. I mean, there's literally I can think of 2 cars in that movie.
Well, I'll watch it for Daniel Craig and see what
I would highly recommend. He's also doing a Southern accent again. But
really?
This is like a Louisiana
So
one.
that is one thing, though. Hopefully his Southern accent is better because it was a little spotty in this one. It kind of went off and on. There were times when I was like, wait, what voice are you doing, Daniel?
Yeah. Next up, speaking of Daniel Craig, Daniel Craig had no set rules to follow for his appearance as Joe Bang, according to the director Steven Soderbergh.
Okay.
As he bleached his hair and cut it short, he sent the director an email with photos. Soderbergh was fine that he did the look and just completed it with some tattoos for filming. So that was Daniel Craig's choice to cut his hair short and bleach it.
Okay.
Which was pretty interesting for the character.
Yeah.
I think it definitely fit the character.
It did.
It's just interesting for an actor to be like, oh, let me chop and bleach my hair and then email the director and be like, look at this.
Right.
If the director didn't like it, he would have been in some hot water.
Yeah, and yes, absolutely. And it is, I mean, that was actually, it was fine for his character. I think it was good. The look was fine and everything. But you're right, it was. Now, did he know that he had this flexibility? Did he know
I don't know.
Okay, because if he did, then he'd be like, well, I'm going to try different things. But
last trivia fact, which ties in with what we were talking about with Matt Damon and Daniel Craig.
Okay.
Adam Driver and Daniel Craig also appeared together in Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens.
Right.
Driver played antagonist Kylo Ren, obviously, and Daniel Craig played an uncredited stormtrooper.
Yeah, I remember that. Yes.
Which is hilarious.
It is. It is.
So that's really cool that I don't know. I like it when actors play uncredited roles that you don't know who they are, but like they're just a fan. Like to be able to say I'm a stormtrooper.
Yeah,
like that's so cool. And like
I
appreciate the fact that this huge movie star is also like, I don't even need to be credited. I just want to be a stormtrooper.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool. So
I agree. I really appreciate that. I like that. So that's very good.
So that's all the trivia I have as we start to wrap up a little bit. This kind of hectic podcast all over the place with phone calls and false starts and all that stuff.
Yeah, we had some craziness going on, but that's all right. So it's all right.
Would you change the channel, or was there anything else you want to talk about?
No, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's that's pretty much it.
Would you change the channel?
Yeah, actually, I would.
I would too.
Would you? Yeah. Isn't that funny? I mean, it's one of the rare movies where we both say we would change the channel.
Well, here's the thing. It falls into this middle ground, and I took a marketing class in college.
Yeah.
And I remember I've thought about this really hard. It was one of the only things I learned in college.
Wow.
And I actually bring it up in car reviews quite frequently.
Yeah.
Where my professor was up at the front of the board, and she had this giant whiteboard, and she drew a scale.
Yeah.
And she said, all right, name me the most expensive and really good food. Like, or really good food or most expensive. Yeah. And so we draw it and we plotted it out on this scale.
Right.
And what we ended up learning is that the only restaurants we could think of were restaurants that were really good and really expensive.
Yeah.
Really bad and expensive.
Yeah.
Really, like, we could only think of the extremes, basically.
Gotcha,
so what
yes,
comes to mind,
exactly,
like, I think of McDonald's for really cheap but good.
Yeah.
And then I think of, like, Fogo de Chao, Brazilian steakhouse is really expensive, really good.
Yes, right.
But there's a whole middle ground of restaurants that no one could think of.
Oh, I'm sure. Absolutely.
And so it's this weird thing where, like, if it doesn't get a rise out of you, positive or negative, it's just going to fall into the void in the middle.
Yeah.
I talk about the Hyundai Sonata like this.
Oh, yeah, right.
Hyundai Sonata's a good car.
Yeah.
If someone told me, like, oh, I went out and bought a Hyundai Sonata, I'd be like, great.
Yeah.
Good, solid, reliable car, has pretty good features, whatever. But I drove a Hyundai Sonata. I've driven a couple of them.
Yeah.
I don't really remember them because they weren't bad enough for me to hate, like, the Fiat 500L. I hate the Fiat 500L with a passion.
Wow, that is a strong reaction from you.
I hate it.
Yes,
to the point where I was talking about, I started getting a headache while talking about it in the car. And, like, literally, I have a video where I'm, like, just chugging water because, like, I'm starting to get a headache. I hate this car so much.
Wow.
Or I think of, like, you know, the Nissan Skyline that I drove or the recent Audi R8 that I drove. It's so good that it sticks out in my mind. But there's so many of these cars that just fall into the middle.
Yeah.
And I think that's what happened with this movie.
Okay. All right. Well, that's probably, I mean, that's actually an excellent explanation because I feel the same way.
I didn't love it enough or I didn't hate it enough.
Yeah.
Like, how often do we talk about Poker Run and Christmas cars? We bring it up all the time. We talk about it all the time.
do.
Like, almost to the point where it's
true.
so bad that I love it.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
Like,
the same thing. Yeah.
It has this special place to me.
Yeah,
this
it
movie,
does.
I don't know if we're going to bring up in a week.
I guess my one syllable review would be meh.
Yeah.
MEH.
And that's not a good thing or a bad thing.
No, it's not.
Just
it's just
a
meh.
middle.
So, you know,
well, I mean, you could go with the saying the opposite of love isn't hate, it's indifference.
Yes.
And so I'm very indifferent on this movie.
Right. Exactly. Me too. Yeah. Me too. I mean, there wasn't, and for me, there wasn't like, okay, because I really want to watch this for this one scene.
Right.
There wasn't that memorable scene or that memorable exchange or that memorable. There wasn't. I mean, it was, like if Blues Brothers is on, there's a ton of memorable, crazy scenes that I really want to see because those are fun, enjoyable things, whatever. It just didn't, there's nothing that really stood out.
I think similar movies like Gumball Rally, going back to one of our first episodes, that was such a melancholy movie.
It was.
I didn't hate that movie. I didn't love that movie either.
I feel the same way. Yeah.
I don't see myself rewatching.
Yeah, exactly. Like
even I know you hate Rush. I think we should redo Rush because it got such a strong emotion out of you, and maybe,
Why do you want to punish me so badly?
Well, it just gets brought up so much that I think it maybe does. With fresh. I think let's do some more Formula One stuff, and then maybe we'll touch on that one.
Maybe
again.
Let's see. Maybe
that'll be a bonus episode.
Maybe
we won't do that as part of.
That'll
the
be
main
the
series,
okay. Well, we'll see. All right. So we're at the end.
So I would change the channel.
You would change the channel. I would change the channel because I don't care enough either. So that's a good place to leave it. Okay.
What's our next movie?
Next movie.
You are guiding the ship.
Yes.
You get to pick. You pick the odds?
Do I? I think I pick odds.
Yeah.
Because
pick odds.
I think so. Our next movie. And actually, so I was thinking about this. Next movie is Driver 19.
Oh.
So you have to understand.
Okay.
Is that the name of it? Driver 19? I'm going to go check.
Vehicle 19.
Vehicle 19.
Vehicle
Sorry.
19.
Vehicle 19. Let me go check. Hold on a second. It's right here in front of us in our huge library.
Do you want me? I know you're off mic, but do you want me to tell the story, or do we want to wait to tell the story next episode? It's up to you. Sorry, I forgot you're off mic.
I was completely off mic across the giant studio that we have here. At $151 million.
$151 million.
So this is Vehicle 19. Yes, tell the story. I'm sorry, you're right.
So Vehicle 19 stars Paul Walker.
Paul Walker.
And it's a non-Fast and Furious, but car movie, maybe? Hopefully.
Yeah, exactly. It is.
It's called Vehicle 19.
It's called Fasten Your Seatbelt.
So I saw it at the dollar store. We have a chain of dollar stores here called Dollar Tree, which just raised their prices to $1.25, which is bogus, but whatever.
Right.
So I saw it there when I was actually out of town with my girlfriend. We go to Dollar Tree frequently.
Yep.
And I saw Vehicle 19, and it was Paul Walker, and it said vehicle, so that it has to be a car.
Right. So
I was like, oh, I got to buy this for the podcast. It's $1.
Right. It's $1.
And that'll be fun. So then I bring it home, and I left it in my RX-7 for like a month or something. And we're sitting at the table, and we were talking about the dollar store or something while you were making food.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I found a movie at the dollar store the other day that we'll have to watch. I'm excited to show it to you. And you go, that's funny because I found a movie at the dollar store the other day. And then I think I was like, oh, does it have a famous actor in it? And you go, yup. And I was like, does it have a number in the title? And you went, yup. And I ran out into the garage and grabbed my copy out of my RX-7.
That was it.
And we both bought Vehicle 19 at separate, like hours apart. Dollar stores.
Yes, absolutely. It was hilarious because I always check bins.
Yeah.
Any store.
Right.
I always check the video bins, for like older movies and stuff like that, and disc replay and all that. And when I saw this at the dollar store, I'm like, oh, totally. It says vehicle on it. It's got Paul Walker, so hopefully this is a car movie. We have no idea, by the way. We have no idea whatsoever.
I haven't even read the back. I don't know if you want to read the back.
I could read the back.
Okay, go for it.
Recently paroled Mitchell Wads.
God, okay.
I can't read it. It's too dark in here.
Okay.
But do you want to read it?
No, it's okay. It's okay. Let's surprise ourselves. Vehicle 19
It's Vehicle 19.
One,
Vehicle 19 is our next one. So that's it. So if you want to see it, go to your dollars.
Go to the dollar store. I'm sure there's some bootleg website that has it too. But thank you guys so much for listening. Thank you for staying with us in this very ADHD riddled episode. Not that other episodes aren't.
No, we never veer off.
If you're listening on YouTube, check us out on Spotify and iTunes. If you're listening on Spotify and iTunes, check us out on YouTube. You get to see my beautiful handmade drawings.
Yes.
That don't move because we don't offer video. But we also have some special video stuff on YouTube. We did our live Ghostbusters review in the car.
Right. Exactly.
You get to see our faces.
Yeah.
We did a Lego building video.
Yep, that was fun.
And we'll have a couple other bonus episodes in the future. So
definitely.
thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll catch you next time with Vehicle 19.
Yep. Bye-bye.